Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Telecom industry once upon a time had several players, lot of players in the market, so a consumer had a lot of choice. As things progressed, the telecom players started shrinking, especially after the 2G scam and all of that. The telecom players in India started shrinking, therefore choices for consumer also started shrinking. The unfortunate part is, even currently it looks as if it's now getting smaller and smaller. Currently there are three players: Airtel, Vodafone Idea and Jio. Now Vodafone Idea into a lot of trouble. And today we will talk about that problem. Let's get right into the show. Yesterday, a letter written by the chairman of Aditya Birla Group, Mr. Kumar Mangalam, who owns stakes in Vodafone Idea Limited. His letter written to the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Rajiv Gauba, got public. It got leaked. Now, after this getting leaked on Tuesday, that is yesterday, the market capitalization of VIL, that is Vodafone Idea Limited, crashed by 2,700 crores. Now, I will tell you the situation of Vodafone Idea Limited. Vodafone owes 50,399.63 crores as AGR. AGR is adjusted gross revenue. So they own 50,399.63 crores in AGR. They have already paid 7,854.37 crores. And after yesterday's crash, like I told you, 2,700 crore crash in their market capitalization, the remaining dues are more than double of the existing market capitalization, which is 21,264 crores. As on March 31st, 2021, the gross debt, including lease liability and AGR dues of the company, was 1,80,310 crores. This included 96,270 crore in deferred spectrum payment obligations and rupees 23,080 crores in debts to bank, financial institutions, etc. So the company has a debt of 1,80,310 crores. The company is in deep trouble. Now, what really happened is, because the company was in deep trouble, the chairman of Aditya Birla Group wrote to the Cabinet Secretary. Now, I will give you a glimpse of what he wrote to the Cabinet Secretary before I get into the actual story. He wrote that over the last year, VIL has made every possible effort to improve its operational efficiency through prudent capital spending, manpower, restructuring, and a whole host of cost reduction measures. Despite all of that, the financial condition, particularly the liquidity position of the company, was sharply deteriorated. To sustain VIL operations and pay regulatory / government dues, VIL has been trying to raise fundings of rupees 25,000 crores. He says, I need money. I am trying everything possible. I am not able to get the money. If I have to pay the regulatory bodies and other debts, I need 25,000 crores immediately. This was what he said. Now, this, what I'm going to read, is very, very important. So hear this very carefully. His second para says, to actively participate in this fundraising, the potential foreign investors, mostly non-Chinese, and we have yet to approach any Chinese investor, want to see clear government intent to have a three-player telecom market, consistent with what its public stance. Through positive action on long-standing requests such as clarity on AGR liability, adequate moratorium on spectrum payments, and most importantly, a floor pricing regime above the cost of services. In the absence of definitive steps in this regard, the potential investors have understandable hesitation to invest. Now, let me go to the last paragraph and then we'll go back to our editorial. He says, I want to emphasize that without immediate active support from the government on these three issues, certainly by July 2021, VIL's financial situation will drive its operation to an irretrievable point of collapse. It is with the sense of duty towards the 27 crore Indian connected by VIL, I am more than willing to hand over my stakes in the company to any entity, public sector, government, domestic financial entities, or any other that the government may consider worthy of keeping the company as a going concern. What I understood as a layman, what I understood from the long and short of it is he is saying, Baba, listen, first of all, government, you decide. Do you really want three players? Are you really going to allow three players like you say? Or are you not? Please make that intention very clear. You let me know. Allow karega kya humko survive karne ko? The second point that he makes through this letter is, if you don't, you tell me who do I give the shares to, I will give my shares. Let whichever entity, government body, whoever you decide, Baba, I will give my shares, let them run it. This is a cry of a desperate owner of a telecom company. It's a cry. He's saying, Baba, listen, if you are not going to allow me to play, tell me kisko do, main usko de deta hu. This is what I understood. Now, this is point number one. Point number two is because this letter was made public, the company which is already in doldrum lost another 2,700 crores. My question number two is, who made this document public? This is the document that went public. This can't be made public by Kumar Mangalam Birla. Why it can't be made public by Kumar Mangalam Birla? Because this is a document which is marked. You see on the left hand side of your screen, you see there are markings made by various departments. This is how government paper travels. So obviously, this letter has gone from the Government of India's office, not from Kumar Mangalam Birla's office. Okay, because this is not the document he would have sent, because he would have sent it's a clean document without all these notings if it would have been leaked from his office. Number one. Number two is, this paper has been leaked, this letter has been leaked after 11/6/2021. Why? Because the last marking was of 11/6/2021. So it has been leaked after 11th of June 2021. That is the second thing that we can say. So who wanted the letter to be leaked? And who wanted the letter to be leaked? Because it was obvious that the market capitalization is definitely going to come down. When somebody says, "Mera company band ho jayega, bhai, I'm going to close down, batao, main chalao ki nahi chalao, nahi to bolo kisko dena, I will give it to them." Come on, that's the point number two. Now let us get into some explanation. What is this concept of adjusted gross revenue, AGR? What is this concept? You see, in 1999, these telecom companies went up to the government and told them, listen, Baba, I don't have the money to pay your licenses here. Every year on year, I can't afford to pay this licenses because we are not making that kind of money. So we are using a spectrum. So to pay for that license, can we work some kind of a profit sharing? 1999, the government said, okay, theek hai, we will work on a profit sharing. So came the concept of gross revenue sharing. Theek hai. Now, after that, there was a problem. The problem was, what is revenue? Who says what is revenue? Who will define revenue? The companies had one definition of revenue. The government had another definition of revenue. Who decides what is revenue? These people said that, boss, you can't charge interest that we get as revenue. You can't charge if we sell a property, whatever money we get as revenue, or we do some other business and for which we get revenue. You can't charge this as revenue. You can charge revenue. That revenue, that the definition of revenue should be that what the money we earn out of your spectrum, out of licensing your spectrum, or using your spectrum, that should be the revenue. You can't be charging revenue on other things, interest and all that we get. That you can't charge, no? Okay. So there started the conflict between the government and the companies. Now, the government went on charging the revenue according to their definition, and the companies started protesting. The companies kept on protesting. The amount started to swell. Okay. In 2015, these people went to TDSAT. TDSAT is Telecommunication Dispute Settlement Appellate Tribunal. They went to TDSAT. And they went and told TDSAT, "Ke bhai, ye kya hai? How can the government take my sale of property as profit or maybe interest that I get on my property as revenue? That is not the government's revenue. That is my revenue, isn't it? The government's revenue is whatever money we earn out of our actual sale of spectrum. That is what the government revenue should be. The use of spectrum that we use, that is the government revenue." Okay. TDSAT told DOT that, listen, DOT is Department of Telecommunication, saying that, Baba, you are not Government of India, you are not Finance Ministry, no? You are Department of Telecommunication. So your lien can only be regarding telecommunication. If they earn money out of interest, how can you take money from them? So TDSAT stood with the companies. But the government went out and said nothing to it. They went to the Supreme Court. And they said, the Supreme Court, they went and told, Baba, we are not going to recalculate. We are not going to recalculate now the adjusted gross revenue. They are not going to recalculate. You have to pay that money. Whatever money you owed us from 2004, 2005, 2001, you have to pay us all that money with interest and compound interest and that interest and this interest. You have to pay the money. And that is how companies had to pay 50,399 crores. Companies like Vodafone. This was the story. The Supreme Court agreed with the government and said that, okay, fair enough, you can't. Supported the DOT and said, fair enough, you have to pay the money. They said you can't recalculate it. All wo nahi hoega. They supported the government. To conclude, see, the most important thing about ensuring that there is competition, especially in telecom sector, there is competition in India for three reasons. A is, of course, thousands and lakhs of people have got jobs because of telecom sector. Vodafone Idea Limited, VIL, appoints lakhs of people, either directly, indirectly, as vendors, as salespeople, as agents, whatever. Lakhs of people. So number one is job. Number two is the fact that as a consumer, it is my right to choose. It is my right to choose whether I want to have Airtel, I want to have Jio, or I want to have Vodafone. Imagine I have only one choice. We will be going back to the license Raj. We are going back to the license Raj. And the most important thing is, if you have just one telecom provider, it will question the privacy of the person who is using it, because that telecom provider has everything of yours with him. Everything, where you go, where you stand, where you walk, where you sit, what you talk, which channel you watch, which site you visit, everything the record can be kept with that particular single telecom provider. How safe is that for an Indian? And what happens to the privacy of Indian? That's the question I would like to end my editorial with. But before I go, we need your help. We need your support. We need you to subscribe to us for us to survive. We have to pay our bills, and that requires you to help us. Do subscribe to our channel. Do log into our website www.hwnews.in. Do log into our website. Subscribe to us. Your subscription will matter a lot to our existence. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.